All right, so today's video is about how to do the week 8 spiral review. So this is a new set of questions that you can use to help you do week 9 and week 10. So let's start with, what is the value of 1/7 to the third power? So what I'm seeing here is 1/7 is my base and it's being taken to the third power. So we have to be thinking about, well, what does the exponent 3 mean? That means I have to repeat the base 3 times. So I have to multiply the base 3 times. So even though it's a fraction, I'm still going to do it like it was a whole number. So I'm going to do 1/7 times 1/7 times 1/7. And so then I know that 1 times 1 times 1 is going to be my numerator, and then 7 times 7 times 7 would give me my denominator. And 1 times 1 times 1 gives me 1. 7 times 7 gives me 49, and then 49 times 7 gives me 343. So then my answer will be 1/343. So that exponent meant that I had to multiply the 1/7 3 times. All right, my next question is, what is the value of this expression? Hint. First, find the value of the numerator, then second, find the value of the denominator, and then third, divide. So I have a numerator with 4 to the 5th plus 16 divided by 4, and then a denominator of 10 minus 6. And so I'm going to solve the numerator, then solve the denominator, and then this fraction bar also means division, so then I'm going to divide it. So I'm starting by putting my numerator, so 4 to the 5th plus 16 divided by 4 is what I'm going to solve first. And I need to make sure I'm solving it according to PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So I'm going to start by doing 4 to the 5th power. So 4 to the 5th power means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So I'm going to start by doing 4 times 4, which is 16, and then 16 times 4, which is 64, and then I need to do 64 times 4, so that's 16, 24, which is 256. And then I'm going to do 256 times 4. That's 20, 21, 22. And then that's 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 more is 10. So 4 to the 5th power is 1,024. And then I'm going to bring down, so I'm done with the exponent, so I'm going to bring down the rest of my problem. So now I have 1,024 plus 16 divided by 4. So now that means I've done, there weren't any parentheses, I did the exponents. Now I need to do any multiplication or division, and I see this division here, which is 16 divided by 4, which gives me 4. So now I have 1,024 plus 4, because I'm done with that step, so then that gives me 1,028. So now that means the top of my fraction is going to be 1,028, and the bottom of my fraction is going to be 10 minus 6. So then I need to solve the bottom. So 10 minus 6 is 4. And then I end up with 1,028 over 4. And so now I need to do that division. So this is a lot of work on this problem. So I'm dividing 4 into 1,028. Well, 4 can't go into 1, but it can go into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract and I get 2. Bring down the 2. 4 goes into 22 5 times, which is 4 times 5 is 20. And then subtract, I get 2, and bring down the 8, and 4 goes into 28 7 times, which is 28, and I have nothing left over, no remainder, so my answer is 257. So this was a tough, challenging problem. All right, number 3. What is the area of a square with a side length of 7 centimeters? So I know I'm asking for what is the area, so they want me to find the area. I know it's a square, and I know the side length is 7 centimeters. So I got to keep all that in mind when I'm solving it. So I know I'm finding area. So I know area is what I'm looking for. And I know I'm finding the area of a square. In a square, I'm going to do base times height. And I know that the height and the base of a square are the same, and they're telling me that the square has a side of 7, which means the base and the height are both 7. So to find the area, I'm going to do 7 times 7, which gives me 49. So that means the area of my square would be 49 centimeters squared. All right, number 4 says, what is the value of the expression? 5 plus 3 times 6 to the second power minus 10 plus 7 times 2. So we got a long problem here, but we can solve it as long as we follow PEMDAS. So I'm going to write it down step by step. So I got 5 plus 3 times 6 to the second power. So I have 5 plus 3 times 6 to the second power minus 10 plus 7 times 2. Minus 10 plus 7 times 2. So I'm going to make sure I'm following PEMDAS. So I'm checking for parentheses. I don't have any. I'm checking for exponents. I do have an exponent here. So I'm going to start by doing 6 to the second power. And I know that's 6 times 6, so that gives me 36. Then I'm going to bring everything else down and keep going. So I don't have any more exponents, so I'm done with that step. So the next thing I'm looking for is multiplication and division. So I've got some multiplication here. I don't know what 36 times 3 is off the top of my head, so I'm going to work it out. So 6 times 3 gives me 18, carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So this gives me 108 plus 5. Then I'm going to bring down everything else that I haven't done yet. I still have some more multiplication in the problem, so I'm not done yet. So I have this 7 times 2, which is 14. So now I'm bringing everything else down. And now I've done all the multiplication, all the division, so I'm done with that step. So now the next thing I do is addition and subtraction, but I do it in order from left to right. So I don't just do the addition first and then the subtraction. I do it left to right. So I'm going to do 5 plus 108 first, which gives me 113. Then I'm going to subtract 10 and then add 14. So then 113 minus 10 is 103. And then I'm going to add 14, which gives me 117. So my answer is 117. All right, number 5 says, what is the surface area of a cube that has an edge length of 3? So I'm looking for surface area. It's a cube, and the edge length is 3 feet. So I have to be thinking about, if it's a cube, that's a 3D shape. If it's asking for surface area, that's the area of all the surfaces. So I got to find the area of every single surface. So I need to think, well, what is a cube? Well, a cube is a 3D shape where all the sides are squares and there's 6 faces. So there's 6 sides. So we learned in class how to draw the net for a cube. So I'm going to draw a net for a cube. I've got 6 faces. So I got 4 faces going down the middle and then 2 to the side. And I'm going to kind of box this off so I don't mess up. And I know that for my cube, the edge length is 3. And we learned that if one edge is 3 on a cube, all the edges are 3. And so now I'm just basically finding the area of every single face. So I know to find the area of one of the faces, I'm going to do base times height, which gives me 3 times 3, which is 9. So I know the area of every single face is 9. And so my last step is to add them all up. So I can do 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9, or I can do 9 times 6, which gives me 54. So this has a surface area of 54 feet squared. All right, so let's go on to number 6. Number 6 is, what is the value of 2/15 divided by 5/12? So we have not gone into division yet. And next week, it is going to change to a multiplication problem, so you don't have to worry about it, but I am going to go over this one. So with division, dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, and we'll learn that more in class, but that means 2/15 divided by 5/12 is the same as taking 2/15 and multiplying it by the reciprocal, or this fraction flipped over, 12 over 5. And then 2 times 12 is 24, and then 15 times 5 is 75, so it gives me 24 over 75, or I can simplify it to 8 over 25. All right, next is number 7. Kayla has 20 feet of ribbon that she will cut into pieces. Each piece will be a ½ foot long. How many pieces will Kayla have? So I know she's got 20 feet of ribbon. So I'm going to just show my 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And I know she's cutting them into half-size pieces. So I'm going to take each one of mine and cut them into half-size pieces. So I'm going to cut them in half. And the question is, how many half-size pieces will she have? So at this point, I can just start counting. So I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40. So she's got 40 pieces. Because each half counts as a piece, because she wants to know how many half-size pieces. All right, number 8. If a square has an area of 64 feet squared, then what is the side length? So now I know that the area is 64 feet square, and I'm looking for what is the side length, and I know it's a square. So this time, they're giving me the area and asking what's the side, and I know it's a square again. So again, I know the area equals 64. So if I were to draw a picture of a square, the 64 feet squared go in the inside because that's the area. And the question is, what's the base and what's the height? And with a square, the base and the height have to be the same. So I have to be thinking, what times what equals 64? And I need my numbers to be the same because it's a square, which means the base and the height have to be the same. Well, I know that 8 times 8 gives me 64. That means the side length of the square had to be 8 feet. All right, question 9. What is the value of 2 11ths divided by 3 11ths? So I'm looking for 2 11ths divided by 3 11ths. And again, division is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So 2 11ths divided by 3 11ths is the same as 2 11ths times this fraction flipped over, which is 11 over 3. Now I can do 2 times 11, which is 22, and 11 times 3, which is 33. So I have 22 over 33. If I simplify it by dividing them both by 11, it gives me 2/3. So either 22 over 33 or 2/3. For number 10, we're just going to skip that one for right now because it's just too much to go into about dividing with mixed numbers, but we will learn that in class, and it will not be that kind of problem on 9 and 10. All right, so hopefully you guys are okay with everything that I did. If you have any other questions, you can ask me in class. Make sure you check this video out if you're struggling with 8, 9, or 10. All right, thanks.